We call the meeting of the August 1st, 2022. Meeting of City Council to order. And we'll join me in the flag salute. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
All right, Councilor Eager. Here. Councilor Morrow.
Here.
Councilor Astorga. Here. Councilor Donahue.
Here, if you can hear me.
Councilor Ott.
Here.
And Councilor Hofer is absent.
Well, thank you. So first thing we have is presentations, guests, and announcements. We have Jim Berman here with us. There she is, hi. From ODOT to talk about safe routes to school. So you have the floor, Jim.
See if she can. No, maybe not.
Doesn't come back on.
Sorry, are you guys waiting on me?
No, we were waiting on technical difficulties, but you have the floor now.
You might have to kind of point or high five or something because it's a little hard to make out the voices. So let me know.
Okay. Hey, we're ready for you.
Did you say you are ready for me?
Ready for you.
Yeah, go
Yeah.
for it, Jenna.
Okay, sorry. Well, hi, everyone. I apologize for not being there in person so that there's not this stuff. But I really wanted to be. But I actually just got COVID. And so I really actually appreciate you having this opportunity. I was going to tell you a little bit about this project that I'm working on there with the city, why we chose Mount Angel. I decided I didn't want to put together a PowerPoint. I'm kind of tired of that. I thought you might be too. So I thought we'd try and make it as conversational as we could, even though I know it's still a little bit awkward. So bear with me. So my name is Jenna Berman. I've been on ODOT for 6 years now, and I do bicycle and pedestrian stuff, which is now called active transportation because we have scooters and skateboards and all kinds of things, not just people biking and walking. And recently we spent a couple of years talking about a problem at ODOT. And you guys, your community, lucky you, kind of kept coming up as one of the wonderful communities that we should try to address some of these issues in. And let me tell you why. At ODOT, we have, and at the state, we have requirements for doing these transportation system plans. I believe you guys are due for an update and applied. Your previous city manager applied for an update a year and a half ago, maybe, for funding for that. And those plans look at your town for the next 20 years and make a list of projects, potential projects that you'd like to see funded. And those plans are really important because that's what gets prioritized for funding. However, in those plans, communities will often do more details and more information about what they'd like to see on their local roads, but not always a ton of information about the state highway. And so for communities like yours, where a highway runs through it, there's some unanswered questions. And those plans also don't get to a really high level of detail. So you don't know exactly where a crossing should be, exactly where the middle school kids are going after school, that type of thing, because it's kind of high level. And so then what happens is a maintenance project. You guys happen to have a ramp project coming through town. And I, in my world, go, oh my gosh, can we leverage this project? Can we add some bike things to it or some pedestrian improvements to it and get that done at the same time? And then what happens is my folks say, well, we don't know where to put the bike things, and we don't know what they look like, and we don't know where to put the crossing things, and we don't know what we look like because we don't have a specific study. So there's this gap in our process, if that makes sense, from planning to actually project design. And so we started to look at bridging that gap, and we decided to call it urban design verification, just kind of a mouthful. But basically what we're saying is when we get into urban areas, could be small towns, big towns, whatever, all is urban. We want to find the solutions ahead of a project that might be coming through to do pavement, or it might be coming through to fix the ramps, so that we can actually leverage that project and get some real things on the ground to help the community sooner rather than later. And the reason why we picked Mount Angel for the first one ever is because you are scheduled for an ADA ramp project in the 24-27 year timeframe. The pavement should also be redone before too long, and some people might be nodding their heads, but I can't tell. And yeah, thanks for that. And you also have all of these crossings in town, more than any community. You have crossings that don't meet our current standards. This is no one's fault, by the way. This happens all the time. But we have new kind of standards around crossing safety. So they don't meet our current standards for being as safe as we think they should be to be marked. And that takes analysis and a study to figure out which ones stay and which ones go. And if some of them stay, what does it look like? What do we add to make them safer? So all of that work needed to be done. And you guys rose up. Lucky you. You also have a lot of open areas where there might not be some missing sidewalk and stuff like that. So we got about $100,000 about to do this study. Luckily, your folks, some of which are in the room, were receptive, because it does take time on your end, and that's a huge help and essential to a successful process. And we have been working our way through the process in the hopes of finding some kind of real world, if that makes sense, solutions that we can add some money to the ADA project when it happens and get some things done. Now, in the meantime, another grant opportunity came along, which happens every 2 years, which is the Safe Routes to School grant, which Mark, I don't know what to call you, Officer, Mr. Mark, we call you a lot of things, has also been involved in, not to be overly informal, but so I'm working with the county, and we just submitted last Friday an application to try to address a couple of the crossings with the Safe Routes to School grant. That would be about $1 million for the 2 enhanced crossings that we're going for. So fingers crossed we get that, and then chip away at some of these really great improvements. So that is kind of not a very simple concept to relay. I hope that that was digestible and made sense. You know, in other words, you guys, lucky you, but had a lot of unanswered questions. And then you also have a lot of really great things going on that draws, but not just Oktoberfest, although everybody loves it. But you also have lots of kids biking or walking to and from school. You have this wonderful, like, historical route that you have signage for through the community, and all these really neat kind of historical destinations, all these things that support people walking around. And then you have a highway, right? And so that is kind of this real world way in which we were trying to get some of those solutions vetted, supported by the community, supported by ODOT, and then when the time came, hopefully find some additional funding to get them on the ground. Does that cover it, Mark, you think?
Yeah, I think that's a pretty reasonable explanation about where we're at right now. And then were you going to move into these 2 crossings that they all have pictures of?
Yeah, tell me which ones, remind me, COVID brain, which ones I handed you.
So the first one is the College Street crossing, and then the next one is Markham Street.
Great. I'm also looking at those on my other screen, so I'll try not to look too distracted. So the College Street crossing, so some of the elements that I want to mention that we're looking at, there's a lot. It's been great working with Mark, and then when we were out there doing a site visit, we actually had a few other officers come out, and we just don't always have that opportunity. And so it really gave us the opportunity to talk about where safety concerns are. And for most communities these days, we hear a lot about speeding concerns in town, where it's really not supposed to be the fast place to get through. And so one of the big strategies for traffic calming, which is its own whole term, and then there's like all these strategies under traffic calming, but one of the really big ones are what we call a couple things: bulb outs, curb extensions. But you'll notice at the College Street crossing, those big red, it looks a little extreme, I know, but like those kind of big red curb extensions. And what it does is when people are driving, it narrows down their field of vision, and it also shortens crossing distances. It does a lot of things. And so then the pedestrians are out front in front of parked cars, which is super helpful for safety, more likely to be seen so people can stop for them. But it also narrows the visual field so that people sort of automatically slow down and pay more attention. So that is why you're seeing those at all those corners. And wherever you have parked cars on the street, you have that 8 feet of space. And legally, cars are supposed to be parked about 20 feet back from a crossing anyway. So you can just sort of build those bulb outs to fill in that space. And so that's what we're looking at. And for the Safe Routes to School grant, we went for not all of this, not the whole. You see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 corners with something on them, but we went for the school crossing, which is kind of in the middle. It's like the south side of College, if that makes sense. And then if we were to get that, we would try and build the rest of it with that other project. You see a couple X's there in purple if it's printed in color. And that's where we're looking at removing or closing a few other crossings that are right next to a crossing that's been enhanced. And so the philosophy there is that if we really put a lot of improvements into one crossing, which is what we're looking to do here, shorten it, add lighting, put those markings down that are the zebra stripes, that are eye-catching, that we want to direct the pedestrians to use that one and not cross all over the place. So we kind of consolidate where people are crossing. So that's the kind of overview of that concept design. Does anyone have any questions about that one? And mind you, this is it's a drawing for the sake of kind of general conceptual, development. But then if we get funding for a project, that's when the details really get worked out. And we also check to make sure that the size of trucks that would typically be passing through town are still able to make those turns. That's often a concern. So I just want you to know that we evaluated that.
I have a question. So on these proposed sidewalks / the bump outs, will there be businesses and impacts on taking up some of their property away from them?
No, that's a really good question. One of the great things, one of the other benefits of those bump outs can be our ADA ramp requirements have changed over the years, and we actually had a recent big lawsuit around them, which is why we're fixing them all, like all of them on the entire state system. And so that's why this opportunity to figure out the solutions ahead of these projects is such an opportunity for us. So anyway, if you can imagine, our requirements now are that we have 2 of them on every corner. And now when you cruise through town, you'll probably be annoyed that we had this conversation, because you'd be like, oh my gosh, all I can think of is ramps. But A lot of corners built just one, but kind of back in the day, or they weren't big enough to be gradual enough to meet our current standards. And so if we bump forward and kind of out into the roadway a little bit, it actually prevents us from impacting the right of way behind those ramps. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah, it gives us more real estate to work with. So hopefully, and sometimes we have to do it for utility poles and things like that. So hopefully that will actually keep us away from the businesses.
So another question too is that 20-foot space in front and behind the bump outs, is that will include parking spaces that are already there, so those will be eliminated?
Yes, those would be, yep. A couple of parking spaces would be eliminated. Again, all the paint that's out there today was either based on old standards or not really based on standards, which happens a lot. So when we come through with a project, we kind of have to re-examine all that stuff. And so those parking spots would go, a few of them anyway, would go away anyway, not just because of the bump out.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, good questions. I know it's not the most exciting topic, so if anyone has questions, I'm always excited. I'm actually presenting on this, just so you know, at a national conference later this month. So it kind of is an exciting topic for some people. Do we want to look?
Sorry, one more.
Yeah.
Saw my notes here. When you said, it says on here removing crosswalk striping, but the crosswalk is to remain open. I thought crosswalks have to be marked in order for them to be considered a crosswalk.
That is another good question. So they actually do not. So every corner is a legal crossing. So that one, like from the gas station that you're kind of seeing that's diagonal, like we don't love that because it's pretty long and not a very direct route, right? So we would improve the other one and then take the markings out. It's still a legal crossing when there's ramps going across the street. We would just encourage people, because the other one's marked, that's where we'd encourage people to cross. But you can cross on any corner unless there's a distinct closure at that corner. And there'll probably be a few closures that happen as we go through town. But typically those are only places where it's really considered unsafe to cross, and there's another nearby good option.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. So let's cruise north to Markham. Do you guys have your copies printed in color?
Yes,
Do you guys see some blue on that one?
the blue didn't show up on this one. I was just looking for that. It's not on mine.
Okay,
You
cool.
may just have to explain how cool that is and how dynamic that's going to be.
Yeah, so this one could potentially be really dynamic. And again, folks, this is kind of the dream. And we're about, I should have started by when I gave the overview saying that I was really excited to meet with you guys tonight because we're about to send this out to the greater public. I'm going to be there next Friday for your root beer float garage sale event, which I'm excited about. I'm telling everyone I get to go to root beer float event for work. So we're about to put this out to the general public to get feedback. So my hope was that by taking the time to explain it a little more thoroughly, because these are not simple concepts to you all, that it might, kind of help to get out into the community. So you're sort of my first stop shop, and then we expand from there. So this one was really tricky. So I guess I also should say that ODOT has new guidance around all modes of transportation, and that we're supposed to design our roads to accommodate all those modes, which is hard. And we're not able to do it all sometimes. And one of the things that we're probably not going to do in Mount Angel is rebuild the whole roadway and widen it to get bike lanes, right? Like that's just not realistic, not happening. So when we did this study, we're looking at, okay, how do we get the pedestrians safely from point A to point B? And also if people want to choose to bike instead, or can't afford a car, or they're kiddos and they're not driving yet, you know, about a third of our population doesn't drive. So that's a pretty big group, older, younger, that kind of thing. How would they comfortably get around? And Main Street, the highway, you know, where it gets busy and real downtowny, is just not going to be a super comfortable place to ride. And the only way to get room for bike lanes apart from cars would be to take out all the parking. And we didn't think that was an option here. And so one of the things we started to talk about that a lot of communities do is to say, hey, we're going to put bike lanes where we have the space, or markings on the ground where we can. And then we're going to find a parallel route on slower, less trafficked city street and encourage people to go there. And this parallel route strategy is great for a lot of people, including the drivers, and especially folks on the farming equipment and the truck drivers and stuff, because, you know, they don't want to be mixed in with, you know, kids on bikes, right? That's scary for them too. And so what we started to look at was when you get north of Markham Street, the road really opens up. There's not as much demand for parking. So we talked about bike lanes up there. And then transitioning people who might be riding south. So say they want to go downtown, and say that they live up off of Franklin or John Street, and they're cruising down the highway. Markham, I know, but say they live a little farther up. They're cruising down the highway and they want to get over to Garfield Street, which is probably a much more comfortable parallel route to get to all the goodness of downtown. And so we looked at this crossing. All of that's to say this crossing at Markham is kind of sophisticated, but it's designed to basically get kiddos across to school, east and west, to and from school. And also if anyone's riding their bikes down the highway or back up, to also be able to transition across. So it's a little bigger looking and more complicated, but we have some great examples around the state where you're mixing people biking and walking and kind of getting them up onto a corner and then safely getting them both across. And so that's the idea here. We had in my image here, we have a little bit of blue that is supposed to indicate where people on bikes should be versus people that are walking should be. And it's for, again, it's all the rules around the Americans with Disabilities Act. And if someone was blind, would they be able to know where they should be in this? And so that's what that's all about. So that's one of the reasons why you see more stuff out there. This is a great example, just so you know, there's a legal crossing on the north side of Markham because there would normally be ramps there, but we only designed one. We're going to close, the idea would be to close that northern crossing to get everyone to the enhanced crossing where it's marked, just because it's such a safe spot. And this one would have those flashing beacons. Have you guys seen those before, where the kiddos hit them, they flash? And so it would have an additional enhancement at this one. And that's because there'd be faster speeds. People are coming into town. We thought it needed a little extra enhancement to ensure that it's safe. And we know that the kids are using it a ton. So this one has a lot going on. Reactions? Doesn't have to be a question. It can just be a, oh my gosh.
I got a couple. So that 24 feet on East Markham, is that narrower than it is right now?
On East Markham, sorry, you said 24 feet. Where's that from?
It's just east of the crosswalk there.
Oh, does it say that? Oh. On the east side, if I'm getting you right, on the east leg, maybe I should share my screen. I don't know if that's helpful or not. I don't know how close you guys are and how much you're able to see. Oh, I'm not able to screen share. That's fine. On the east side of, you'll see some of that curb extension stuff going on, like a little bit of those bulb outs. And so that would take up some of the space that's there today. Again, it would slow cars that were turning and make sure that they look where the kiddos are crossing. But the width after that, and again, it would just get them back from the crossing. And so parked cars today might need to back up 20 feet, and then you'd be back to the regular width that's there all along. And the Safe Routes to School project was planning to do sidewalk on the north side, but it got too complicated. So they're going to stick with the south side of Markham, bring the kids all the way down on the south side where there's more sidewalk today, and then do an enhanced crossing right by the school. That's in the application for the grant.
So I envision a semi, when they turn east on Markham, are their rear wheels gonna be going over that landing, what that proposed landing is?
That is a really good question. So, so I'm not an engineer. I should have said that too, but we do have a program where we run turning. You can choose the size of a vehicle and rehearse, kind of make lines for the different turns. So when we get to designing this more closely, we would want to ensure that for the size of truck, we want to make sure they can get through there, that we would run those turns and build it so that they could get through there without running up over the curb. Unfortunately, sometimes people still just do that. We try and build up that curb in between the two ramps so that it deters that. But if it were to happen, we'd be able to, maybe reinforce and put some other things out there. It's a really tricky one.
Are the sidewalks ramped or curved?
They would have just a regular standard curb here, like just that, it's like that 6-inch concrete curb. Do you guys know about the traffic on Markham? I mean, that's the county, it's a question to you, but do you guys get big trucks doing that movement?
Yeah, you'll get up to 40-foot trailers out there, big rigs.
Okay. That's good to know. Yeah. And that would probably be a really good comment. I'll jot it down too right now, but that would be a good comment if you ended up commenting on this when it goes out to the public, and you'll have a chance to put comments in, but I'll also jot it down. We have a meeting tomorrow.
So when would this happen? Next year?
Well, that's a great question. Well, so we will find out. So the Safe Routes to School grant opportunity is one thing, right? And then the ADA project is another opportunity. And the ADA project is scheduled for the 24-27 timeframe, which I know seems a long way out, but in our world, that's actually kind of soon. That's why we're trying to find these solutions ahead of time. We're also trying to get some money from the rail folks at ODOT to improve some crossings and do some other things too. So when you start those conversations early, you're a lot more likely to get more money together. But for the Safe Routes to School grant, if they get it, we should know in January this coming year, December, January, we should know. And then the county would have five years to complete that project. And so if they get the Safe Routes grant, we'll have to have a discussion about whether or not we try and coordinate that construction with the ADA project, or if they do it separately.
Any other questions? Anybody?
So Safe Routes, sorry, just to build on that a little bit, but the Safe Routes grant, if the county's, excited to we get it and they're excited to get going on it. I mean, that could be, a year and a half to at least start the design and all that kind of stuff. So could be sooner.
Okay, thank you very much. I think we're out of questions and very informative. Thank you.
Yeah, and if you guys think of anything else afterward, I really hope you'll help get the word out around the input session here. And or comment or just, you can always email me. Mark knows how to get in touch with me. And, if you think of anything else. So this is really the opportunity to ask those great questions. Will the trucks make that turn? That kind of thing. We really want to get that so that we get it right. So.
Awesome job. Thank you, Jenna. It's very
Thanks you
exciting.
guys for having me. I really appreciate it. I look forward to hope to see some of you over a root beer float very soon.
Okay, thanks.
I'm gonna jump off. Thank you.
See ya.
Okay. Next item is appearances, interested citizens. We have. Oh,
Right, three on the same. Here. All right.
I'm vertically challenged, maybe you should stand on the chair.
Stand on the chair. So, I'm Scott Stokely. I think I know pretty much everybody in the room. So thanks for having us tonight. Here representing our small business group, Managing Business Together, is a subgroup of the Chamber of Commerce. So I have my wife, Christy, and then Tammy Plummer and Cara Plummer from Sheetscape down next to Boxler. So at the end of last year, we kind of were looking as small business owners, what can we do to increase business in town, put our heads together, things like that. So we got together the first part of the year and we organized Managing Business Together as a subgroup of the chamber. Cara and I are both on the chamber board as well. So what we wanted to do tonight was just give you guys a brief overview, kind of where we came from, what we're about, what we've got going, and then what we're looking at doing in the future. So first, this group is here to work with and for the business community in Mount Angel. Also working with the city in promoting local business. Another focus is bringing people to town other than for festivals. So looking more at a tourism aspect versus just coming here for Oktoberfest, things like that. Also keeping people in town and in our shops and, at our attractions while they're here. The longer they stay, the more money they leave here, the better it is for the economy of the town. Also bringing the business community together, offering some networking and supporting events, things like that. Encouraging businesses to get more involved. A lot of times, everybody feels like they're on their own. And so we want to, kind of be a help for each other and a support for each other. So bringing the businesses together. A few of our accomplishments this year, we have started a Facebook page called Discover Mount Angel. So I know the city's been very helpful in sharing that, the chamber and different businesses. So it's just a way for us to promote what's going on in Mount Angel to other people, outside of Mount Angel as well. Also hashtag Discover Mount Angel. We're encouraging people to use that in their posts and things like that, just to spread that. We started the Next Friday event. So a lot of communities have second Thursday, first Friday, second Saturday, things like that. We decided since Silverton's so close to us and they have the first Friday, we would have the next Friday. So the second Friday of every month, we've been having an event where we encourage businesses to stay open a little bit later, maybe some incentive for customers to come in, specials, things like that. And then like Jenna was saying, they're going to be here next Friday. Out here on Charles Street, we're gonna have a phone company doing some things, some vendors out on the street, and it'll also give them an opportunity to speak to the community about what they're doing and get some input. So just more of that, just to get some excitement growing throughout town, and we plan on keeping that going. Maybe adding farmers market, some music, car show, different things like that. A few of the projects we have in the works, the National Night Out. Mark approached us a few weeks ago about the National Night Out. So the small businesses kind of took that on. And so we'll be helping promote that tomorrow.
So come on down for hot dogs, snow cones, ice cream, salads, all kinds of good stuff. We're in the works with an actual Christmas tree lighting, and possibly a Chris Kendall market to go along with that, during the Christmas season. So we're in the process, and then obviously I'll be coming to the city just to, ask some questions and get some permissions. Maybe doing some things like angel sculptures downtown, encouraging, families, groups, things like that, to maybe build an angel of some sort, put it outside of a business, give the community an opportunity to vote on them, wander around businesses, things like that. Monthly after hours socials, so business after hours, we're looking at doing that. And we're looking at more advertising opportunities to spread the word about Mount Angel and also the tourism and businesses and attractions and things we have. So we're in discussions about possibly a publication coming out next spring before summer hits, just to get the word out about everything that it's offered. So that's about all I've got for you. If you have any questions, let me know. Obviously, most of you know where to find me in town. Cara and Tammy are down at Cheapskate most of the time. And, love working with everybody and seeing everybody around town. So thank you.
Does anyone have any questions? Before we kind of up. I have a question.
Yes.
What kind of tenants are you getting next Friday?
Next Friday, what do we have last night? Yeah. Yeah. So the library's been doing movies in the park or movies in the library. So it'll be nice. It'll be nice all the way up until that next Friday, and then it pours down rain. So I think we've got a little bit of traction now. Some more things going on out in the streets and more people involved. So our goal is to keep that going even throughout the winter. Weather permitting, we're just gonna have to adapt to it. But we want to keep that momentum going. We feel that if we, end it in October, it's gonna take that whole rekindling in the spring. So just keeping the presence out there and telling people, get the parkas on, get the umbrellas out, come downtown and have some fun. So.
Any other questions? Thank you for coming by.
All right.
And vertically challenged myself. I thought it was safe to say it. Okay, thanks, Scott. Okay. Is there anybody else that signed up? Colby?
No, I do not.
And under correspondence, we received a number of condolence cards from different people and organizations around the communities. And I certainly appreciate people who took the time to do that. And now we're on to accounts payable review. We have the report and we have the quarterly finance. I'll turn that over to Steph.
Very well, in front of you, as you said, you have the accounts payable report, which is pretty normal for a council meeting, and then the quarterly report, which was prepared by Tara Von Flew, who is joining us tonight on Zoom. Should council have any questions?
Okay, any questions, council? Start with David. Tony, any questions?
For the accounts payable, yes.
Okay.
Oregon Rifle Works, page packet 18. It was for the ARPA, and I think we allotted, what was it, 15,000 for it? So what's that extra leftover going to be used for? I think we allotted 15,000 for it.
Actually, it's 25,000 for the,
Was
for
it?
the weapons, so that's the initial piece for that, and we still have to obtain ammunition and everything else to be able to replace that, so you've yet to really determine exactly how much is gonna be left, but when we have something left, then we'll figure that out.
Okay, so I was just wondering if that was just, so this is just like the first half of it.
That's a first piece, yes.
Okay. Because I remember we budgeted quite a bit, and so like,
Yeah.
when I saw this, I was like, that doesn't seem right.
Well, and I will tell you that, well, so we're talking about the ARPA funds, and later we're gonna talk about the lease of the vehicle. Vehicles have jumped up in price, and so, I think, so, I think we're gonna still be able to stay within budget, but, yeah, there may be some massaging there.
Any other questions, Tom?
Yeah, what's the Owen equipment for the 5-person charging case for Zonetics?
Yeah, that's hearing protection with microphones, so we can speak back and forth when we're out running the projects
Okay,
in the back truck.
thank you.
Matt, do you have any questions?
No, I got nothing. Can you
Sean?
hear me?
Yeah.
All right.
Are you in the pool? Your turn.
The computer towers for the PD on page 13. I'm sure they need to be replaced. How often do they get replaced?
There's a schedule actually
There
that
is.
Woodburn IT puts together, and we've actually put that off about 3 years. So those towers were ordered and paid for out last year. And we've got, I
Just
think,
what-
we've got 4 more that are in need of replacement this coming fiscal year.
What's the usual schedule?
I really couldn't tell you exactly, but it's several years, yes.
May I chime in?
You may.
It's 5 years.
Okay, thanks, Tara.
Yep.
Any questions? To the consent agenda, we have one item. The council meeting minutes of July 5th. Any comments or corrections? Not entertain a motion.
I'll move to approve the council minutes.
Same.
Motion by Tony, second by. Roll call.
All right, Counselor Hofer.
Aye.
Counselor Eater.
Aye.
Counselor Wall.
Aye.
Counselor Stoyer.
Aye.
Counselor Donovan.
Aye.
Counselor Hop.
Aye.
Okay, now on to new business, we have first item, the bid award for John and Franklin Street overlay project. Turn that one over to staff.
Thanks, sir. I am going to roll right over to our Public Works Director, Alan, and he's going to walk council through this approval process.
So the John and Franklin Street project went out to bid. West Tech put it out to bid in 2 sections, Schedule A and Schedule B. And Keeney got both of those. They were the lowest bid. So the whole entire project was bid on, came out to bid for $443,390. With a contingency of $30,000 And then just the portion that we got the grant awarded for, that came out to 287,470. That's just for the grant, but the whole entire project would be 443.
And it's gonna be done this fall.
Yeah. So as soon as there's a decision made, then I tell Steve and get it going.
Do you have any idea when Katie back to start?
Well, I think they want to start ASAP as soon as possible.
How does the bids compare to the engineer's estimate?
From 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Well, I got that right. So for the whole entire project, including the extra down, it came out to 270,000 for the whole entire project. 2 years ago.
270.
Yeah. That's including engineering.
And why didn't they go out? Yeah. Versus now.
I asked that question. The engineers got tied up on their stuff.
So they're gonna pay the extra difference.
Or when you shop,
That's an engineer.
Good luck with
Really.
it didn't get designed quick enough. Oh, I'm sorry. So yeah, the city or Public Works recommends the award of John and Franklin Street overlay project for Schedule A and Schedule B. For K&E Excavating to come in and do the project. For the amount of $443,390. We have the money. It will impact the street fund for a few years.
But we will keep our promise, and we'll keep that promise to the community. And we will continue to move forward. And I think that's really, really important that we honor this and we will gonna keep our promise with the community. Because we're kind of counting on it. I attended the last planning commission meeting and folks who don't even live in that neighborhood have heard about it, knows what it means, so.
It's not gonna get any cheaper.
No. So this will just lower our balance in the fund and we move along with future projects.
So will this push back our CIP?
It'll probably push back, our attempt to do much more on Academy, just on our own.
Yeah, because I've been hearing that you guys want to kind of work with the developer out there if and when it does happen. Want him to do a lot of it, so, or some of it.
Yeah.
From what I hear.
Right.
Yeah, well, that's a huge chunk of money, and I heard some of this is funded with the grant.
Yes.
So, and the difference is how much?
100,000.
100,000 is what we want to take from the street fund.
Well, I'm sorry, no, we would be awarded 100,000 for the grant. We get that reimbursed.
Okay. Any other questions? We can a motion on this.
I move to approve, I know it don't sound right, award of the John and Franklin Street overlay project, Schedule A and Schedule B, and estimating in the amount of $443,290 with a contingency of $30,000. Second.
We have a motion in a second. All recommended motion. Roll call. Colby?
Counselor Ott,
Aye.
Counselor Hopper.
Aye.
Counselor Eater,
Aye.
Counselor Wall,
Aye.
Counselor Storga,
Aye.
Counselor Donahue.
Motion passes. The next item is emergency tow service contract.
Thank you. This would be a very quick item. The last time I brought this before council was 4 years ago, when we had an emergency service tow contract, which was terribly out of date. That tow contract was written for 2 years. That contract allowed for us to extend the contract for an additional 2 years. So we've been operating with Premier Towing as our emergency service tow contractor for the last 4 years. They're a local company right there in Silverton, Oregon, just 4.5 miles down the road. This company has been sold and acquired by a new owner. However, their experience does kind of blend out and blend through, and they're still a very good tow company, if you ask me. And we put this out for RFP. We sent notices out to a number of towing companies. I believe there was at least 14 that we sent notices to, requesting them to participate in the bid process for emergency tow services for the city of Mount Angel. We received exactly one, and that was from Premier Towing. They meet all of the requirements for our tow contract, and it is my recommendation to authorize me to sign a contract that could exceed $50,000 over the life of the contract for emergency towing services for the Mount Angel Police Department by Premier Towing.
Any questions, council? Hearing none, let's entertain a motion.
So after the $50,000 chief, it's, do we have to approve it? Council has to approve it.
No, the reason this is coming before you, because I'm allowed by charter to sign agreements up to $50,000. There's a chance that they could make more than $50,000. I doubt it, but I bring this to council because it's the safest thing to do.
Any other questions? I'll entertain the motion now.
I move to authorize the city manager to enter into an emergency towing contract with Premier Towing of Silverton to provide emergency towing services for the Mount Angel Police Department.
Second.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. Okay.
Counselor Donahue, couldn't hear you. Could you say that again, Counselor Donahue?
Aye.
Thank you.
All right.
Counselor Ott. Counselor Ott,
Aye.
Counselor Hopper,
Aye.
Counselor Eater,
Aye.
Counselor Wall,
Aye.
Counselor Storga.
Aye.
Next item is our vehicle lease for the police department.
Thanks, sir. This will once again be a rather short item. As reflected in the fiscal year 22-23 Mount Angel City budget, I had placed in there to acquire one police patrol vehicle through lease program that we've been involved in for a number of years. The acquisition amount for this vehicle for the first year is $16,536. Just to kind of cut to the chase, these vehicles are getting more expensive and harder to find. In fact, this car is coming from Greenfield, Illinois. It is going to cost us this year, if approved, $16,536, and then $16,136 per year for 3 more years, for a total of $59,912.15. And this is in our budget, and based on the lines that I intend to use, we have more than enough to pay for this lease as well as the other one that we entered into last fiscal year. So we are sitting just fine in being able to acquire these vehicles. So I would recommend to council to please allow me to enter into this lease and acquire this vehicle so we can continue with our retention program of trying to get a police car with each one of our officers that they can take home and bring back, and maybe I'd be able to keep a few more. So that's where we're at.
Any questions, council?
Is there a date of when you think you'll get all these, when you can start the take-home program?
Well, I'm acquiring one vehicle from ARPA, and this is like a twin. This lease is come from the same place at the same time.
Okay.
So one from ARPA funds and one, we'll have to go back to Greenfield and drive them out because they're about $3,000 or better to ship them. So I'm trying to save about $6,000 to ship. So we'll fly out and drive them home. And then I'm going to be waiting on getting stuff for the upfit. So all the electronic equipment and all that kind of stuff. And it's supply chain. So I don't know exactly how long that's going to take. That could take 3 months before all those parts come in. And then once those vehicles are upfit, then I hope to be able to get them, get cops in those cars as quick as I can.
All right.
Thanks for asking.
So it's just hopefully sometime this year or next.
It's, well, no, dang it. I'm hoping it's going to be this calendar year. I'm trying real hard.
Just put it in your prime account. 2-day shift.
I wish.
2-day bill.
Okay. Any other questions, council? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
I move to reaffirm the city council's decision as reflected in fiscal year 2022-2023 Mount Angel City budget to acquire one police vehicle through a lease purchase program and authorize the city manager of police chief of Mount Angel to execute the vehicle acquisition of $16,536 from the police vehicle replacement.
I'll second.
Moving second to confirm the city council's prior decision. Colby?
Counselor Esposito.
Aye.
Counselor Donahue.
Aye.
Counselor
Aye.
Oh, there it is.
Aye.
Thank you. Counselor Hooper.
Aye.
Counselor Eager.
Aye.
Counselor Wall.
Aye.
7B.
Can we go back to 7B? Sure. 7B is the quarterly finance report. You may would like us to go back to that.
So can Tara kind of go through this with us because this finishes the fiscal year off, correct?
Yeah, you there?
Yeah, what would you like me to go over?
Just walk us through how we did for the year.
Oh, back to the financial quarterly report.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, let me scroll up on my packet here. Okay, so packet page 25. We got more revenue than we budgeted for, so that's always a plus. That helps the ending fund balances. That then helps the beginning fund balances the next year. Our expenditures overall looks like we were under 50%. A lot of that comes from where we budget for City Hall, and our contingency is considered budgeted, but then we never really plan to spend those because those are for emergencies or in case of items. And then packet page 26, again, we were over on our budgeted revenue. Again, that helps our ending fund balance and puts our city in a better position for beginning fund balance this current fiscal year. On some of the funds, like the water utility SDC fund, we were close to spending all of that because of the water project. And the rest of them are funds where we have to balance our expenditures, but we have no, like the SDC funds, we have no project plan for. So we knew that we weren't going to spend any of those funds. So we were less than 40% expenditures. Does anybody have any other questions specifically?
what was the 99,000 spent in the capital outlay?
The first page.
Yep.
Okay, well, I'd have to go back and look. I'm trying to think. That would include Public Works vehicles. So I believe they purchased a dump truck last year. That would be one purchase. Some of those might have been ARPA funds where we did the AC unit and the police. Those are just a couple off the top of my head, but I can give you a report.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Tara.
Mhm.
Okay, moving right along. We will have the city manager's report.
Okay, I still have two counselors that I need, League of Oregon City surveys, back from, might be sitting in front. That way I can collate all the answers.
So do like 10% of my votes don't count because it's tardy.
Thank you. Since, coming here, one of the things I've learned certainly is the council likes to read and likes to take some time to think about things. Some of the meetings that I've been to recently, one of the things mentioned was this whole ballot measure 109. And this circles around the psilocybin mushrooms, and I'm just going to say kind of legalizing it, but not really. They're going to be able to license certain providers to be able to then therapeutically dispense psilocybin mushrooms to people so that they can receive that therapy. And they're planning on starting to license those establishments, I believe at the first of the year. There are many communities here in Oregon which are considering legislation either to enact a city ordinance or to simply refer this back to the voters for their specific community, whether or not they intend on allowing this to occur. So I'm not sure that we have engaged this conversation in enough time to put legislation on the ballot this November, but council can enact, like I said, an ordinance which would prohibit this, which would need to go to the voters, which would go to the voters in 2 years. But the ordinance that council has an opportunity to enact, if you're interested, would basically put a moratorium on the state being able to issue anybody a permit to do that practice within the city limits of Mount Angel. So I provide you the information from the League of Oregon Cities and model psilocybin ordinance and or ballot measure for your perusal. And I'd be happy to discuss this further with council at any time council would like to have that conversation.
Does that mean you'll bring it back down the road?
I would be happy to bring it back if council wanted me to bring it back. And I'd be happy to circle back and talk about it perhaps next council meeting in September. And we'll see which direction we'll go. Of course, if we were going to do an ordinance, that would require writing the ordinance, getting it through our city attorney, but then also having a public hearing about it. So I'd be all for doing whatever council would like to do in this area. Any other questions about psilocybin?
The ordinance is written as a 2-year moratorium. Is that the maximum we can do, or?
It is because it would be until we could go, by the way that I have read this, it would be a 2-year moratorium, which would then allow it to go back to the voters, since a measure like this would have to be done in an even election year. So it would be going before the voters in 2024 for ratification or denial.
Okay.
Will the city lose any funding from this?
I'm not aware that there's any funding coming out about this at all.
Okay.
But I'm gonna research it some more, and that'll be part of our conversation. But I know that there's a lot of communities that are taking action on this issue. So back in June, the city of Mount Angel received a donation from Pepsi Northwest Beverages. In years past, they had donated $5,000 annually to the city for like a parks project, those types of things. And they decided to send us a check for $2,500. And they're actually going to be circling back, and they may send us another $2,500 in November. But I wanted to make sure that we recognize Pepsi Northwest Beverage for their donation. So I put together a real simple thank you card, and I would like to pass that around to council. If you would like to sign in on that, that would be great, so that I could send them that and thank them for their thoughts and their donation. I did do, following up on that conversation that we had at the end of the council meeting, last meeting, I did follow up with Ross Williamson, our city attorney, in regards to the council vacancy. And so if council wants to have a further conversation about that, I have information. But that is totally up to you. I have received information that there's an individual who is actually interested in purchasing the City Hall Police Department building.
That's nice to be too.
It's apparently a gentleman out of Silverton. I have not spoken with them yet, but I am planning on giving them a call and seeing exactly what they have in mind. I know that there's many thoughts in the community that if we move the City Hall and the Police Department to a different location, that location where we're at currently would be a perfect place to have a city living room, if you will, or blocks, someplace to have center of town, to have celebrations and events and things like that. So I just will bring you more information about that conversation when it's happened. I also have been speaking with the trustees in regards to the Wilco Fire Site location, and do have information about that. I'm not proposing that we move ahead on negotiating a purchase at this particular moment, but I think it's a great opportunity, and I'm going to be exploring public-private partnerships and some loan opportunities perhaps for that property, and see if we can't do some developing and some really cool things maybe for Mount Angel. And they seem to be willing to give me a little bit of time to do that. There is other interest in the property, but I did get first right to kind of take a look at it and see what we're going to do. Public Works and I continue to examine our water system. And as council is aware, we're one sample away from the potential of having to chlorinate our system here. So Alan has been doing some amazing work, reaching out to really those who know much more about water systems than he and I and most other people put together. And there may be some grants and there may be some other opportunities for us to acquire some funds to do some improvements, if you will, to our water system if we find ourselves on the mandatory side of doing something with the water system. Is that pretty well covered?
That covers. We'll eventually have to go to chlorination. This last month, we had chloroform hit, and I took repeats, and the repeats came back bad. So that would automatically put us into an investigation. But I talked to Oregon Health Authority and they invalidated the test and let me test one more time. And we tested one more time, coliform hit again, and then I took repeats and those came back clean. So if they would have came back dirty, we would have been mandated chlorination by now. So we'll have to do it all over again this month and see what we do.
But we are engaging with our engineers to see what kind of system we would need, what kind of upgrades, and potentially what kind of costs, which will help us in to being able to determine what grant programs we might qualify for and see what we're going to have to pay.
So is it coming from all the wells?
No, so I did get one hit, coliform hit. I haven't had any E. coli hits yet. It's not been E. coli, it's just been total. So on a repeat, I did get a hit from well 7. And
Which is that one over here?
no, this is not
Over here.
And for some reason, that did not put us into an investigation. I called Chantel, she's my contact there, and she said it, for some reason it didn't. But so we slid by on that one. But yeah, that's the only time I got to hit it off the well was that. Everything else has been out of distribution.
So that was at the well site, it wasn't in your distribution system?
That
Where your hit was? Was
This
it at the
last
well
time?
site? Was it at the well site or in your distribution test site?
This last time, it was distribution.
So it wasn't the distribution site?
Yeah.
Far end or closest to?
It's been random. This last time was up by the school.
By the school, okay, so it's about halfway. Yeah, about halfway.
And then we get hits out here. And we'll get hits out on Maryhill or GCAMS.
Yeah.
area. There's one sample site that I won't sample from because it hits every time, but there's 2 blocks over, it's clean. So that could be just a sample site. So I stopped taking samples from that.
What if we do have to chlorinate, is there a time frame or something?
They'll work with us. It's not going to be like within 6 months. She mentioned 18 months, but as long as we're working towards it and trying to make progress in it, she said they're fine.
So is that happening at the reservoir?
No, at both wells.
At the wells?
Yeah.
The reason for that is because we've got two different water sources, and that's actually pushing into the system from the wells. And then our reservoirs are filled out of the system as opposed to going to the reservoir directly. If it was going to the reservoir directly, it'd be a different story. One last thing, and Jenna mentioned it a bunch of different times, but don't know whether it's all right, but coming National Night Out tomorrow. It's actually very cool. I'm so very proud of our association with the chamber and with, Discover Mount Angel, and how these businesses have just kind of taken this and ran with it. And it really is truly the spirit of National Night Out. It's about business and it's about community coming together and getting to know one another a little better. So it's actually very, very exciting. And I will say, along with National Night Out, that we actually have a neighborhood that's having its own National Night Out celebration for Grandview. So, which is also what it's supposed to do. So we're going to be here, but I'm going to send some officers up to Grandview to be with the Grandview people too. So it's really cool, very inspiring, and I'm liking working with these people very much. So we're going to start to build a little momentum, and keep moving forward. The next Friday is going to have its first beer garden from the public house. And so
You'll do anything to get me to go.
So
That's a great day. He said, just advertise there will be fucking beer.
we're trying some new things, and it's really kind of cool. So thank you for your continued support. That's all I have.
Councilors, David. Mike,
Nothing, just keep your eyes open. We're probably gonna do another park cleanup, hopefully sometime in August. So get a bunch of folks together. I think this one will be Humbert. We didn't get to do it this month, but hopefully Humbert's on our list, as well as Fisher. So we might actually do a dual one. We'll see. Or we might go for a twofer in the same one. So
John. You have something.
Oh, I just, when I go out of town, both on Markham and East or West Church Street, are the city limit sign and the speed signs going to be pushed to the west? Walker Meadows is in the city limits now, correct?
Yes, so I think that's in the county's hands. They're trying to, there's a small little meeting about a month ago and we were talking about it. So not quite sure yet, but it sounds like we could happen.
Can you circle back to the county and check on it? Okay.
And the other thing, Jenna brought up, this safe route to school is very important, but I think we need to keep an eye on what they are doing on West and East Market, because if everything gets choked down, it's gonna be, traffic wise, it's gonna be more of a mess.
So that's why the public involvement and the comments are really, really important. They're trying to propose some really cool stuff, and especially East and West Markham, what she didn't really go into a lot, probably because she's got COVID. She's would rather be here, but they're putting some new stuff into how that's all constructed that they've never done before. And they're really wanting to use Mount Angel as an example and to say, hey, look, this can be in your community too. And I think it's really, there's some great opportunities there to enhance our position as a bike friendly and as a walking friendly as we move ahead on sidewalk remediation and a variety of other things. We got some great opportunities, but the comments that they need when they go to the public, that's huge as far as letting them know. They've gone out and they walked with us up and down North Main on local highway there. They've talked with a lot of people. They're really looking forward to coming to the next Friday events. Jenna and the Parametrics crew have been great to work with. And it is truly much more than just a safe route to school, because they are bringing that ADA project through town. And they've looked at all the different intersections, and she mentioned the rail money, because we've got pedestrians that are going back and forth, as you know, across the railroad tracks, from, on the Church Street on the south side of the triangle, across the street there. People are walking across those railroad tracks, and it's really not an improved sidewalk or anything like that. And there's rail money out there. And so being able to improve that whole intersection, if at all possible, and using some rail money to improve those pedestrian facilities is something that they're definitely looking at as well. So it's trying to integrate all these different things. And the other really neat thing that happened was she mentioned the Safe Route to School grant became kind of a county ask. Well, it's a really cool thing, because when the superintendent of schools and I were on the call about Safe Route to School and putting the application together, which I did, there was a requirement for matching funds, which we didn't have. Well, Marion County came in and said, hey, since East Markham is ours and West Markham is ours, how about if we write a request for a grant? And then it just kind of merged together and became a Marion County request, which means Marion County will be paying the additional funds, the matching funds. So it doesn't affect the city of Mount Angel, but it benefits everybody here. It's pretty cool. And these, like I said, the folks from ODOT have been amazing to work with, and have been way more open than I think they ever have been in the past. So very
The
encouraging.
brought up with the yellow flashing lights, like the one they have in Silverton.
Yeah.
You need that there.
We're gonna
Definitely in
get
the
them,
morning,
we're gonna get them in 2 spots.
morning and night, because it's hard to see sometimes out there and seeing folks going through. So that's
Yeah,
a great idea.
College intersection and east-west Markham. 2 of those high-intensity flashing lights. We may not have a red signal here, but we're gonna have some really bright.
Flashing lights.
Thank you, Counselor.
Thank you.
I'm gonna follow up a little bit. The bicycle repair station. What is the schedule on that?
It's been ordered,
Okay,
and we're just waiting for it to be delivered at some point, probably within the next month, I'll say. I'd like to get it before Oktoberfest, it'd be kind of cool.
Yeah.
Oh, we got part of it today.
Yeah,
oh,
yeah. So we're expecting,
I should
the other-
ask.
we're expecting the other half to come.
Okay, thank you.
Cool, thank you.
Ray is done. Other than National Night Out, I don't have anything to do. No one has anything else to discuss. We will adjourn.